Today, it is all about how to ask for and get a decent pay rise. So we're going to talk about how not to have that conversation, how to prepare for a pay rise conversation, what facts and figures you're going to need to hand, and what to do if your conversation is not going to be successful. And that's what we're looking at today. So let's start off with, why do so many people think they can't ask for a pay rise? Is it that culturally, I'm in the UK and it's something, or is it just something that we struggle to do? An interesting little bit of stats: men are 4 times more likely than women to ask for a raise, and when women do ask, they typically request 30% less than men do. And actually, that's from the economics professor Linda Babcock, co-author of Women Don't Ask. And actually, in a study of 78 master's degree students, she found that just 12.5% of women negotiated for their starting salary versus 52% of men. And actually, research suggests that 20% of women never negotiate at all. So some of this is about gender, why we don't ask. And let's be honest, salary is a sensitive topic. It's one that we don't want to have in case it goes wrong. We try not to have career limiting conversations. In fact, our brain stops us having career limiting conversations, and asking for a pay rise is right up there. And why is it up there? Well, sometimes it's cultural, not talking about money. Be pleased with what you've got. Sometimes we're unsure about how our manager or our boss are going to actually react to it. And the last thing we want to do is upset a manager or a boss, isn't it? Some people think that actually, no, if I'm good enough, my boss is going to award me that pay rise. It won't be anything to do with me. My boss will award me that pay rise. And actually, some people just lack the confidence to ask. They'll go for years knowing that they're underpaid versus the value they bring, and just not ask. And then people are often scared to broach the subject and end up just putting it off for good. And these are often the reasons why we think we can't ask for a pay rise, as well as it being very gender specific. So what else can you negotiate into your package apart from base pay, and why is this important? So actually, you've got to remember that as part of your total remuneration, the exact amount that actually comes into your pay at the end of the month isn't the only thing that your salary depends on, your package can be on. And actually, you can ask for many things that what you need and actually what your employer can offer. So, if they can't put your money up, can they reduce your working times? Can you have flexi time? Can you have more holidays? Can they negotiate a bonus in for performance? Or maybe a bonus in for if you're going to win some work for your employer? Might be a gym membership, study support. Can they pay for your exams? There's all sorts of things that you can get them to do. And a good one is to ask for a bonus or commission based upon certain targets. Now, the worst thing you can do is just go straight in there and ask for a pay rise. What you need to do is actually prepare. So great to see Stuart's just joined us, and welcome, Stuart. So how do you prepare for that pay rise conversation? So the first thing you want to do is know the market and the market salary for a person doing your role. And actually, the quick way to do that is speak to your local friendly recruiter. And they are great for letting you know exactly what people like you will be getting for your equivalent role. And actually, the next thing to do is know how much your total value is for your firm. So what's your charge out rate? What are your billable hours? So what actually is your firm making as a result of you? And you should know that, because you know exactly what as your timesheet, what you build out. Most firms work on a 1 to 3 model, i.e. that you should be generating 3 times as much money as you take out of your firm, what you get paid. Now, that might not be that your firm might have a different model. It might be 1 times 4, 1 times 2, 1 times 3.5. It might be different on the level you're at. So do ask, what is their business model based upon as part of your research? Now, there are loads of places that you can find out what somebody in a similar role to you is making. That could be through a salary survey. It could be through something like Glassdoor, the online site where people anonymously submit what their salaries are. Sometimes a job advert will actually put on how much they're prepared to offer. And all of these are places where you can find out what the market salary for a person doing your role is, but also find out how easy it is to replace you. Because, particularly say in the accountancy world, good qualified people, particularly those that understand cloud, and cloud-based software, are a bit like the unicorn at the moment. They don't exist and they're really wanted. Now, when it comes to how valuable you are, things like, are you winning work? Now, if you are somebody that's seen as a work winner, you're always going to be seen as more valuable than somebody that is a good workhorse. But also, what are your responsibilities? Do you manage people? Do you look after key accounts or projects? And all of this adds up to what impact would you leaving have on the firm? Because firms know that if as soon as you start looking, you become a flight risk. And if you get to the point where you have a job offer, it's likely, even if they counteract, that you're going to be gone in 18 months. So actually having that conversation with your firm about a pay rise in the short term you might be pleasantly surprised that your firm is more likely to give it to you than you thought. And, at the moment we are basically in a candidate-driven market, particularly for accountants, tax professionals, and in certain parts of the consultancy legal world. But when you go into this conversation, you need to have the facts and figures to hand. You need to know how valuable and your true worth. So you might be thinking, well, what is a good way of calculating this true value and how much you make for your firm? So know your charge out rate, your billable hours, your recovery rate, and how profitable you are. And it's very easy. Now, don't just take your base salary. So for example, if you get £40,000 in a year, the cost to your employer is always going to be a bit higher. There's going to be the cost of national insurance and all the employment taxes and the cost of the pension contributions. So when you think about your salary, you probably want to multiply it by 30%, 35%, and you'll get a true cost of you to your firm.